All right. I might take a little bit more time tonight. I really want to communicate something, and then, of course, pray for some folks. And as I'm waiting for people to come to church, I just know this is one of these sermons that people that really needed to be here to hear this, the devil would do everything he could to keep them out. I'll have to call and say, look, you really need to watch the YouTube. But how many know it's not the same? It's just not the same. It's better, it's good, but it's not the best. And so, but I'm glad you're all here tonight, okay? And going back, when I was 14 years old, I worked at, or my friend worked at a place called Sambo's. And I wanted to work there too. The problem was you had to be 16, and my friend was 15. But he snuck in somehow. Well, I was 14, but I wanted to work there. So what I did is I called, and I asked them, when's the manager going to be there tomorrow? Our manager/owner. And they says, well, he's always here at 8 o'clock. And so I was made sure I'll be there. And I made sure that I was there before 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock came, but he didn't. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And they're like, we don't know where he is. Just, we'll tell him that you came, you sat for 2 hours, and we'll let him know. And I just said, no, I'll wait. Oh, well, he's always here by noon for sure. I'll wait. And so I waited. Noon came. And the manager, Terry Hornibrook was his name, and it never came. And this was not the day of cell phones or pagers. And his wife, Glenda, had come, and she didn't know where he was. So anyways, I waited till noon. He never came. Okay, long story short, he didn't come until like 8 or 9 o'clock that night. And I sat at that counter. It's like a Denny's. Like a Denny's would be today. I sat at the counter the entire time. They fed me breakfast, lunch, they did ice cream, and they just kept. And so I stayed there the entire time. And Glenda's wife was so nice, and so he walks in the door, and Glenda walks over to him, whispers in his ear, and he looked right at me, and he walked up to me and said, "You're hired. I don't know where I'm going to put you, but you're hired." And so I was like what they would call a busboy. I didn't wash dishes, but he had me just helping the waitresses, policing, and that, like he's telling me, just don't run. You don't need to run. Just I'm setting up the tables, and just don't. You can walk fast, but don't run. And I mean, I was so into it, and I worked there. And I'll tell you what, Terry, Mr. Hornibrook, was such an incredible man in my life at that time. An incredible businessman, an incredible boss, but he recognized, you have to understand, my dad was in prison at that time. I was going down the tubes. My house was a chaos. But he reached in and absolutely helped me, and he believed in me, trusted in me, and he began to put his hands on me. And not only did he take me up in his airplane and let me fly his airplane, but he took me in his on his motorcycle all the way and stood before the judge, because I had gotten in trouble, and he spoke for me, and he was just there. But he believed in me, and he began to mold me to have my own samples, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be like Terry. But Terry actually had, the incredible man that he was, a better half, Glenda. I have never met a woman like that. Now, not was she just beautiful to me as a 14-year-old kid. She was just a beautiful woman. Her smile, her personality, she was beaming. And all she did is be herself, work with the customers. And so people would come and she'd say, hello, we haven't seen you for so, come in. And she'd go and give the woman a hug, and she was just always beaming. It wasn't put on. That was just Glenda, the most bubbly personality, happy, go lucky. Everybody loved her. But mind you, that Sambo took off like no other. And it was because of number one, Terry. Then Glenda, that was the front woman. And I'll tell you what, that Samuels had people sitting outside. This is Arizona. Constantly packed people. And she knew they came once. She had their name. And she was so good with people, unbelievably good with everybody. So he went on. They promoted him, gave him a great start. I think one of the first Jolly Rogers, and I worked there for 2 years, and he finally, I was bummed. I really wanted him to come back from when Kathy and I got married, and I was a whole different person at that time, but he couldn't make it. But you know, when we were in Malta, just before we left Malta, Terry got a hold of me. This is, I'm 16 now. I'm 60. I'm 60 years old. How many years is that? 44 years. And so we connected, and actually I had gone up to Oregon to see Terry about 6 years ago. That's where a guy on his property, a very good friend of his, had died. And I happened to be there 2 days right afterwards. I was there. And this time I went. Tragic. The second day I got his other best friend, the neighbor like 600 or 800 yards away, because he's got 40 acres. He died. And I happened to be there. I come walking in, and Terry's just breaking up. And so, gosh, I was glad I was there for both of those. And he's just I really, really look up to this man. And I told him, hey, Terry, how are you doing? I told him I'm going to preach this message. And it's about Terry. But it's more about Glenda. Because Glenda, like I said, was the most amazing woman. But there's only one time I caught something in thinking back that was just off. Just off. And I'm 14 or maybe 16 at that time. I don't know. But I picked up something, and it's something she said, and the way she said it, I just picked up something's off. So, as Terry and I are catching up 46 years later, hey, how's Glenda? Rick, sorry to say she's no longer with us. And so I didn't pursue that so much. And but when I had gone out there and sat with them the first time and we're talking, it turns out that there really was something wrong with Glenda. And I'm positive that Terry knew that. Something was really wrong with her. And there was something troubling her deep inside. But now that I'm a pastor, and now that I've read a whole lot, and I've met people, and she was troubled beyond what I even had ever expected. And she just had a habit of just falling into immorality. And it was just not in her character, because her husband was not just a really good man, he was a hunk of a man. Very good looking, loved her dearly. I mean, Terry, if he wanted to, he could have been a Navy SEAL. Now, he'll probably disagree with that, but he was that caliber of a man. He's not a wimp in any way. He was one tough guy in every way. A pilot, he's very successful, whatever he did. Incredibly smart. He loved his wife. She was troubled. And so, he's immoral, and it just reminds me of a story in the Bible about Hosea, where God told this prophet Hosea, the book of Hosea, to go and marry a woman that was like a prostitute, if not a prostitute. So he had to go marry this woman by the name of Gomer. Don't ever date a woman named Gomer. But he married her. And before very long, she had this habit. She had this thing, and she was troubled and couldn't stop herself because she had a prophet for a husband, a good man that really did love her. She started messing around with all her lovers and couldn't stop it. And finally she got herself into some trouble where now she's enslaved. She's enslaved. And so God tells him, and this is not the text that I'm going to use, but the Lord said, go and love your wife again, Hosea 3, verse 1. Even though she commits adultery with other lovers. And this will illustrate the Lord still loves Israel, even though my people have turned to other gods and they love to worship these other gods. So that's the picture. That's like, gosh, that reminds me of Terry and Glinda. So Hosea, the prophet, went and bought her back. And she ran off again. And so Terry was like the ultimate patient, not a pushover. Patient husband. What a picture of God and us. So I'll come back to that probably in just a bit, but I do want to get to my text because there's countless stories. Now, this is what I want to take off from. The most incredible woman up front that I idolized and was so good in every single way from all sides, yet deeply, deeply troubled. Why? So let's read this story of another, because the Bible's full of countless stories of raw, unfiltered accounts of violence and betrayal and different things. But here's this young, beautiful woman that's forced, we're about to read into this, forced to walk through an experience that was dreary. It's like a desert and lonesome, difficult path for the rest of her life. Let's look at 2 Samuel chapter 13. I've highly edited this. I'm going through 20 verses, but we're going to just cut the fat and look at the meat here. In the course of time, Amnon fell in love with Tamar, his beautiful half-sister. Amnon became so obsessed with his sister Tamar that he made himself sick. Tamar was a virgin. Amnon had laid down and pretended to be ill, so Tamar went to the house of her brother, Amnon. Amnon said to Tamar, bring the food here to my bedroom so I may eat from your hand. And when she took it to him to eat, he grabbed her. No, my brother, don't force me. Don't do this wicked thing. Where could I get rid of my disgrace? Since she was stronger, but he refused. And since she was stronger, then he raped her. And Amnon hated her with intense hatred and said, no, this is after the fact, get out. Get up, get out. Don't do this to me. Don't send me away. That would be worse than what you just did to me. And Tamar lived in her other brother's house, Absalom's, and she lived as a desolate woman. A desolate woman. So here's Tamar, the daughter of David, King David, Absalom's beautiful sister, Amnon's half-sister, and Amnon raped her. So horrific to undergo that, and then to reject her, kick her out, was just too devastating to bear. So Tamar's trauma happened early on, in her life. We don't know how old she was. She could have been 16, 15, 14. We don't know. It just set her life in a very ugly direction. She was left desolate, the Bible says. You know what that means? Empty, bare, lonely, abandoned, ruined, just in the wild. That's what the word desolate literally means. So I'm going to talk about a city that was named, or we should say town, Lodabar. And I want to talk about some residents of Lodabar. If you're looking for a title back there, Anthony, the title of this sermon is Trauma Town. So Lodabar was east of the Jordan River. What it means, lo means no in the Hebrew, and Dabar meant pasture, word. So it literally means no pasture, no place to graze, no word. It's like no communication, and it's just a barren place. It's totally desolate. In the Bible times, it was considered that you were living in a slum town. Lodabar. Nothing's there. Nothing's deep. Nothing takes root. Life for everyone was very superficial, just on the surface. And inside they're going, and the relationships between all of them are like just teetering. Good one day, bad the next. Love you, oh, I hate you, I'm going to kill you. And I'm sure there was sex involved, but they had no idea what really love was. There's a big difference. They partied in this place of refuge. This was a place of refuge for people to be pitied. Problemed people. Oh, there was houses around, but there was no homes. Everything was surface level. Just live for that moment. Go with what's happening right now. Nothing deep. No real deep communication and heart to heart. And so this was the desolate life. Nobody really thrives. Just everybody survives. Keep your head down, dodge the shots. So, this city, Lodabar, served as the place of refuge. Traumatized people gathering and just settling there. This is the way my life is. And it was an okay place, just kind of tuck away. But we see a resident of Lodabar, another resident called Mephibosheth. I've used this sermon before and this man before, but he was the great-grandson of King Saul. Grandson. Everybody had their eye on Mephibosheth. He was the up-and-coming future king of Israel. But that wasn't going to happen because his caretaker, one time, there was an issue going on, and the caretaker, he, her, we don't know, tried to save him, and supposedly saved him, but he didn't have the grip he thought he had, and he's climbing over this or that or whatever, but Mephibosheth ends up falling out of the hands of the caretaker. He drops him. Now, both of his legs are mangled for life. So now he's destined to beg for a living. He was going to be king, but he's lame in both feet, ends up in Lodabar. When David inquired about him, we see it here. King David asked, well, where is he? Where's Mephibosheth? Ziba replied, he's in the house of Machir, son of Amiel, in Lodabar. That means the desolate place. Nothing grows. Nobody thrives. Everybody getting by. They're all pitied people, pitiful people. So he lived in obscurity under the care of Machir, son of Ameliel, however you say it. So who's that guy? Machir. He's living there. What's his story? He's a resident of Lodabar as well. Who is Machir, son of Miel? Well, you do a little study, you'll find out he was actually a brother of a woman who was also seriously traumatized. He saw his sister be taken by a king. His married sister taken by a king to satisfy his own desires. She had no choice. And she's bearing the shame and the weight of that. And now she's getting bigger from the king impregnating her. And so this is her brother, Machir. What happened? Oh my God, now you're pregnant? And then the king has her husband killed. So he's not going to get busted for what he did to this man's wife. Has her husband's killed. He was out in battle, and he sends a message, put him in the front lines, and everybody draw back, let the enemy kill him. And they did. So Machir seeing this happen. His sister suffering not only the grief and the shame, and now there's, she's pregnant, and now her husband's killed, murdered by this guy that didn't give her a choice. King. And then he sees her sister grieve the loss of that baby being born, but soon dying. The daughter of Amiel. Machir was the son of Amiel. This was the daughter of Amiel, who also bore 4 sons to David. Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel. This man lived in Lodabar, just traumatized, bothered, couldn't live with the rest and the flow and the go and the progress. It was always just, you could do good for a while and then back down and get kicked around and Machir took crippled Mephibosheth, the little boy, who was lame, took him in. That's where he lived. So today, let me talk about Trauma Town. We're talking about terrible, distressing situations where people are overwhelmed by bad experiences that happen to them, where their security is shattered. It leaves you feeling just helpless, absolutely helpless. Trauma, emotional trauma, things that happen. There's scales of trauma, of course. There's the acute, there's the chronic, there's a complex. Then there's ages when trauma takes place, from childhood to adulthood to even your senior years. Life can be really good, but one traumatic event can change everything. One hidden incident that a lot of the times is just ruthless, ongoing, Trauma. So there's the different types of trauma. There's molestation, rape, war, accidents, crises. These are the obvious traumas. You never expect any of them. Things happen. People are really, really traumatized. Then there's other things where, you just get this sense of rejection from someone you love. Someone's supposed to love you. And there's this verbal humiliation and maybe being neglected. Well, they're at home, but they're not at home. Been cast away. Feel like you've been abandoned for something that pleases mom or dad a whole lot more. And then there's, of course, the suffering of abuse, physical abuse. People being dominated and trapped by somebody stronger, like the scripture we read. Overpowered. Violence. I read 25% of Americans have borne abuse to the point where they have scars left from it. 25%. A quarter of Americans. That's such a betrayal of trust. Put your trust in your caregiver and so on. But it comes in other ways too, this trauma. It can come from witness some wounds of maybe somebody you love. You see them really harmed, as in Makir's case with his sister Bathsheba. Sometimes their own sin that has brought on the trauma. When a girl goes out, 17 years old, with 5 guys until 4 o'clock in the morning, drinking, you're really setting yourself up. It could be the result of our own sin. But for whatever reason, there's trauma and there's the leftovers of trauma. We're affected in our emotions, fears, and anger, and so many different ways. Our physical body. I'm actually kind of getting through a book the second time just now. The body tells the story. Actually, Adam gave it to me. Our Adam. And the body tells the story. Trauma is held in the body. Restless sleep, panic attacks, sometimes out and out pain comes back. So it hits in our emotions and affects that in our physical bodies, but of course, mentally, the flashbacks, the intrusive thoughts that come. Now, I've been working on this sermon for probably 2 weeks. And yesterday, something happened. It was maybe the day before. Yeah, day before. And Monday, yeah. And it's such a stupid thing, but God was showing me something here. Let me explain. Fit for Life ganged up on me. The workers of Fit for Life literally ganged up on me. And they put me in a place as if I'd done something really, really wrong. And I'm standing there at the counter, and they're all there, and I'm looking terrible. And I'm mad. You know why I'm mad? Because they charged me $50. You know what I did? When I was coming in, they have it on video. I saw it. When I was coming in, I opened the door, and and there's an older lady coming. I said, come on in. She came in, and she wasn't dressed for the gym. She was just saying, is there any of the staff here? I need to talk to the staff. She's just an old lady, probably 80. He says, yeah, I go to the senior gym, and they're still charging me. And Frankie was there. Frankie saw her and talked to her, and just an old lady. $50 they charged me because what do they call it? Tailgating. I let somebody in that so they could just freely work out in the gym. It was an old lady. It was an old lady. Look at it. Look. They would not listen to me. Look at the way she's dressed. Look at how she's just hanging at the counter, just looking around. She told Frankie, when did the workers come? And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And all of a sudden, but did you open the door? Yeah, I opened the door. Well, that's tailgating. You let her in. That's not tailgating. Tailgating is sneaking somebody in that wants to work out with you. Stop it. No. Our interpretation. So anyway, we'll go back and forth. I'm getting heated. I'm getting hot. I'm getting ticked. And they're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You didn't get docked $50. They took it out of my account. I threatened them. All the people I know. I was the first to be. I was here before you were here. I was here before this place opened. I signed up before it actually opened. I'm done with Fit for Life. But the problem is, there's no place else. As soon as a gym comes in, I'm switching. And I'm not going to let them rip me off from my routine. So I decide I'm going to go until there's another place around. And point is, this is what happened in the last 2 days. I can't get it out of my head. I'm thinking, how can I get back at them? I'm going to take drinks out of that refrigerator, $50 worth, and I'm not going to pay. And I cut off the card. They can't charge that. And so my mind is completely done. I'm here with Lily right here. We're trying to pray in the morning, and I'm going up on that. But the whole time I'm thinking of vengeance, how I can get them back. I can't get my mind off of it. And I'm saying, this is stupid. $50, so what? Why am I so dominated by this thing? Why is it? And I'm telling you, I was really, really, really bothered. Can't get my mind off it. And then I'm thinking, that's what happens with traumatized people. God let all that happen to show me you can't just shut it off. You can't. So I had to go through this sermon. Absolutely can't get it out of my head. I'll give you a couple of days, it'll go. But you've heard of PTSD, of course. Severe anxiety that comes with that, the powerlessness to stop what feels like a threat, and any little thing can trigger it. Any little thing can trigger, the trauma that happened. And again, in this example, I found this in the book as well. A traumatized woman, she's 420 pounds. Lost weight, really gave herself. Got down to 132 pounds herself. Coming out of it and just giving herself. So the doctor's so proud of her and worked hard at that. And yet the next time he saw her, just a little time later, he's thinking, that's not possible. It's not possible for you to gain that much weight in the last time I saw you. It is impossible. He's blown away. And all it took for her to reverse is one guy at the office happened to say, you're looking good. You're looking really good. Now we got to get together sometime. She took that as a sexual advance. gorged herself and just triggered, and it all flooded back, if not more. Traumatized people are crushed, brokenhearted. There's wounds that just can't seem to heal. And they have a difficult time dealing with issues, things they've gone through and suffered, and you know, some of them fight. They get angry, and any kind of threat, man, they want to overpower it with rage. Others are, flight, run, pull away, escape. That's what David wanted to do. Psalms 55. Oh, that I had wings of a dove. I'd fly away. Be at rest. Yes, I'd wander far away. I would lodge in the wilderness. I'd hurry to find shelter from the raging wind and the tempest. Talk about a storm. So some fight, some flight, some freeze. They don't know what to do. Just shut down. Go numb. And then they say the last group of people fawn. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, which means they just give in. Okay, do what you want. They feel that that's safer to just give in. Do what you want. Let's talk about our refuge, our strength. We sing the song. You're my refuge and my strength, God of my salvation. Great song. It's a verse in the Bible. But the thing about trauma is sometimes we think it's only trained professionals that can handle this. Oh, to my surprise, I'm reading this book by a professional doctor, and great book. I can see why Adam gave it to me, but it's really hard reading, so you probably don't want to buy it. It's hard. But anyways, it's interesting how the doctors themselves try the treatments on themselves for their trauma. That they've got problems, and they're trying to help you, and they want to test the treatment and how it works for them and their problems. Kind of sad. But can I tell you, God understands trauma. He understands people that are left crushed and broken. What did we say? Crushed, broken, wounds still open. Look at this verse in the Bible. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, saves those who are crushed in spirit. They're just crushed. Have nothing inside themselves. They can't pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They just don't have it in them. Can I tell you, Jesus suffered rejection, betrayal, abandonment, public humiliation. He was executed butt naked. The Bible says, one man, let me just say what he wrote. I thought this was quite good. He was despised and rejected. He was abandoned by friends, falsely accused, ridiculed, mocked, scorned, beaten, stripped naked, whipped, humiliated, nailed to the cross, hung there, and absorbed the wrath of God on sin. He became sin. God turned his back and let Jesus suffer the sins of the world. And even Jesus said, God, why did you, God, forsake me? He had to turn his back. Psalms 55, my heart is in anguish within me. The tears of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me and horror overwhelms me. Do you know why I'm saying that? Because if you realize and you know that Jesus really suffered the trauma, that means God knows trauma. He understands it. And somehow when you understand that our Maker, our God, our Savior that loves us really understands it and went through it, it makes it easier to kind of maintain a little bit longer. You know, they did a study with traumatized veterans, how long they could hold their hands in ice cold water. They did this study, and then they got the timing, and then they did the study again. But as they were doing it, they were watching the second time the movie Platoon. They had their hands in there, and they're watching Platoon, and they went way longer. As they saw, other soldiers in this movie go through things. But Jesus literally came when he first stepped into his ministry. He heals the heart, the brokenhearted, binds up, fixes, we could say stitches, the wounds, so they can really begin to heal. That's what our God does best. And Jesus encouraged the disciples. I overcame. I overcame it all. The devil did his best to get me angry, to curse the people that were nailing them through my hands, those spikes. And no, I've overcome. You know, what he's saying there's another way of looking at this. Listen, there's another way of looking at trauma. A whole nother way. When Jesus came back, okay? Another way of looking at it rather than, you're the one that cursed me. You spit on me. No, he could have done that. There's another way of looking at it. How about, I survived. I'm still here. I made it through. Like I'm going back to the fitness center. I'm going to walk in. I'm here. They kicked me out. I'll tell them, call the police. No. See the way my mind's working? That all the people I witnessed to, they're gonna say, what they doing to Rick? And, Pastor Rick. And, no. Okay, anyways, stop it now. Okay, how about I'm still here. I made it through. And stronger. In fact, I'm more empowered. Just another way of looking at it. Jesus said, I overcame. Guys, I overcame. Praise God. Linda, she never came around. Terry loved her. Waited. In fact, the son stepped in and said, Dad, stop waiting. Absolutely lost her mind now. I think she violated her own conscience. Once too many, but she's lost her mind, and Dad, don't. So just a short time after, Glenda, the bubbly, beautiful in every way, killed herself. Gone. And Terry, broken. This man, this faithful man, broken. And he told me, I said, well, you thought about remarrying? He said, no. Never could love a woman like I love Glenda. I just can't. Good on you, Terry. So let's close. Sinner, you don't have Jesus. You have no power to fix what's gone on in your life. You can't repair the damage. You can't. Only Jesus understands trauma. And you can deal with it however you want. You can say, well, I'm just going to be the biggest bee around in this side of America, and I'm just going to pay back. Or you can say all kinds of things. You can bury yourself in alcohol, drugs. You got all kinds of places of refuge. I'll use men, or I'll use women, or I'll beat people up in bars. I've seen it all. You need Jesus. You'll never be free. You'll find a refuge, but you'll never be free. Something happened to you. You listening to me? Something happened to you, and you don't want to tell anybody. God knows. And for God's people, first of all, be careful with the brethren. What I mean by that is also the sisters. That's all inclusive. Be careful with those that you know. Because you know what? I remember every insult and injury. And even in a mocking, comical way of saying things, you're mocking, maybe you're having fun, but you're not having fun because there's a little bit of truth in there, and they catch that. Be careful. You don't know what you're dealing with. Glenda, no idea what was going on behind those big smiles and bright eyes. A lot of things going on that she just couldn't file. And you know what? Not only do I remember every insult and injury, I remember every compliment and encouragement. How about you go with that? Go so far. Who did Kathy tell the other day? Somebody something, and she said, well, we function by compliment. She actually said that. We just function by encouraging people. I don't remember who you said that to, but she did. Yeah. And that's the truth. Just go so much farther. So much farther. Gosh, you're looking good today. What a pretty dress. Yeah. Or whatever. Then I want to talk about this issue, and of course we had to get here for talking about being violated and offended. And I'm really trying to wrap this up because I've gone probably 40 minutes now. We got to forgive. The man in the Bible that is obviously the man that every preacher has used was in such debt, that he was forgiven. And wow. And he's just so messed up. He's so messed up, but he was forgiven by the one he owed money to, the master. However, he walks out from there, and there's somebody that owes him just such a little amount, $10. Pay up now, or I'll put you in prison. Like, what happened to you? And this was, you read it, it's like, what the heck, dude? You just got forgiven $1 million and you want 10 from this guy? Going to put him in prison? Something overrode that man and his experience with mercy. He really did experience forgiveness and mercy. He cried out, have mercy on me, I'll pay you. He really did experience it. But as he goes to this guy, you're making me mad. Just come over here, grab him by the throat. And how could that happen? Now, the answer there is, think about how much you've been forgiven so you can forgive. I mean, come on, it's a no-brainer when you read that. But, look between the lines here. We actually do that. Why? Because you've been traumatized. And that overrides the incredible mercy and grace and love of God and all that we've experienced. The load lifted. But you owe me. You. Traumatized. That's the only conclusion I can come to. But if you don't forgive, here's the truth. Hefty price to pay for unforgiveness, because you will forfeit your place in the kingdom of God. You don't forgive. Work it through. God will help you. But you have to work that through. I haven't come to the place of thinking I need to forgive them yet over there at Fit for Life. But I will. This all was because of this sermon. I just really felt, why can't I get this out of my head again and again? I went in this afternoon, walked in the bedroom, and I started getting the bed ready for going to bed. It's like, what am I doing? My mind was thinking about Fit for Life. I'm serious. It's like, what's going on here? My brain. I had to put the bed back together again so Kathy could see it. You know, and she'd done the bed. And so, trauma, thank God, it has no place in heaven. Eternity. Heaven's going to be different. God says every tear will be wiped. And then no more. And mourning and pain will forever be gone. But until then, work at Jesus, just working it through with you. He knows. He knows. And maintain the combination of a healthy lifestyle and the support of God's people who love God dearly as well. We're going to make it. God, we thank you for your presence. God, your word and the truth